The year is 2025, a year that many had hoped would bring stability and progress. Yet the world watches with bated breath as Europe stands at a critical crossroads, facing decisions that could reshape its future for generations to come. The world watches as Europe stands at a crossroads. The continent, rich in history and culture, now finds itself at a pivotal moment, grappling with challenges that test its unity and resolve. For decades, the transatlantic partnership, cemented by NATO and fueled by shared values, has been a cornerstone of global stability. This alliance, born out of the ashes of World War II, has provided a framework for peace and security, not just for Europe but for the world. Yet recent events have exposed cracks in this seemingly unshakable alliance, forcing Europe to confront a question. Can it go solo? Political shifts, economic pressures, and emerging threats have all contributed to a growing sense of uncertainty. Statistics paint a stark picture. Numbers and charts reveal the underlying issues that have long been simmering beneath the surface. For instance, despite having a collective GDP comparable to the United States, Europe heavily relies on American military might for its security. This reliance has been a double-edged sword, providing safety while also creating dependency. This dependence is most evident in defense spending, where European nations consistently fall short of the 2% of GDP target set by NATO, with the United States shouldering a disproportionate share of the burden. The disparity in contributions has long been a point of contention within the alliance. This disparity raises concerns about Europe's ability to guarantee its own security in a world grappling with new and evolving threats. Cybersecurity, terrorism, and regional conflicts all pose significant challenges that require robust and coordinated responses. The conflict in Ukraine, a stark reminder of the volatile geopolitical landscape, has further intensified this debate. The ongoing struggle has highlighted the vulnerabilities and the urgent need for a cohesive and independent European defense strategy. As the United States grapples with its own domestic challenges and strategic priorities shift, Europe faces a critical juncture: embrace greater strategic autonomy, or risk becoming increasingly vulnerable in an uncertain world. The decisions made in the coming years will determine whether Europe can stand united and resilient, or if it will remain divided and dependent. The transatlantic relationship, while mutually beneficial, has come at a cost for Europe. Over-reliance on American security guarantees has at times led to a sense of complacency in bolstering its own defense capabilities. This dependence has also limited Europe's ability to chart its own course on the world stage, often aligning with American foreign policy even when it may not fully serve European interests. The economic relationship, while robust, is not without its complexities. European economies are deeply integrated with the US, but this interdependence also leaves them vulnerable to economic shocks originating from across the Atlantic. The rise of protectionist sentiments in the US further fuels anxieties about economic vulnerability. Politically, Europe often finds itself navigating the complexities of American domestic politics. Shifting priorities in Washington, particularly regarding foreign aid and military commitments, create uncertainty for European policymakers. This dependence on American political goodwill, while understandable given historical ties, poses a challenge to Europe's long-term strategic autonomy. The most pressing question facing Europe is its ability to ensure its own security without relying on the United States. This question has become even more pertinent in recent years as geopolitical tensions rise and the global security landscape becomes increasingly complex. While Europe collectively possesses significant military assets and personnel, these are fragmented across various national forces. Each country maintains its own military, with different levels of funding, training, and equipment. This fragmentation means that, despite the overall strength in numbers, the effectiveness of these forces can be compromised. This lack of a cohesive and integrated European defense structure poses a significant challenge to achieving true strategic autonomy. Without a unified command and control system, coordinating joint operations can be cumbersome and inefficient. The absence of a centralized defense policy also means that responses to threats can be inconsistent and slow. Furthermore, decades of underinvestment in key defense capabilities, particularly in areas like air power and missile defense, have created significant gaps that would take years to address. Many European countries have outdated equipment and insufficient funding to modernize their forces. This underinvestment not only affects the readiness of the military, but also its ability to deter potential adversaries. While efforts are underway to enhance European defense cooperation, such as the establishment of the European Defense Fund and Permanent Structured Cooperation, or PESCO, these initiatives are still in their infancy and face significant political and logistical hurdles. The success of these initiatives depends on the willingness of member states to commit resources and align their national policies with broader European goals. The lack of a unified European strategic culture also poses a challenge. Different historical experiences, threat perceptions, and national priorities often lead to divergent views on security and defense matters. This diversity can make it difficult to reach consensus on common defense policies and strategies. Different threat perceptions and national priorities often hinder the development of a cohesive European defense policy. For instance, countries on the eastern flank of Europe may prioritize defense against potential aggression from Russia, while those in the south might focus more on issues like migration and terrorism. These differing priorities can lead to disagreements on how to allocate resources and shape defense strategies. Addressing these underlying issues is crucial if Europe is to develop credible, independent defense capabilities. This will require not only increased investment in defense, but also a commitment to greater integration and cooperation among European nations. Only by working together can Europe hope to build a defense system that is capable of protecting its interests and ensuring its security in an increasingly uncertain world. Europe undoubtedly stands as an economic giant, with a collective GDP rivaling that of the United States and China, and being home to some of the world's leading corporations. Its economic clout is undeniable. However, translating this economic prowess into geopolitical influence has proven to be more challenging. Despite its economic weight, Europe often struggles to speak with one voice on the global stage. The European Union, while a powerful force in trade and regulation, often grapples with internal divisions when it comes to foreign policy. This lack of unity diminishes Europe's ability to project power and influence global events effectively. Moreover, Europe's dependence on external energy sources, particularly from Russia, has long been a source of vulnerability. While efforts to diversify energy supplies and transition to renewable sources are underway, these are long-term endeavors. Until these efforts bear fruit, Europe's dependence on external energy actors will continue to constrain its strategic autonomy. To understand Europe's current predicament, one must delve into its history. The continent's story is one of immense power, devastating conflict, and remarkable recovery. Each chapter in its history has left an indelible mark, shaping the Europe we know today. For centuries, Europe was the epicenter of global power, its empires spanning the globe. From the British Empire to the Spanish and French colonial realms, European nations exerted influence far beyond their borders, shaping the world in profound ways. However, the two world wars of the 20th century shattered this dominance, leaving the continent physically and psychologically scarred. The devastation was unprecedented, with cities reduced to rubble and millions of lives lost. The trauma of these conflicts lingered, influencing European politics and society for decades. The aftermath of World War II saw the rise of two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, relegating Europe to a secondary role in global affairs. The continent, once the center of the world, found itself divided and dependent on external powers for security and economic recovery. The Cold War further solidified this dynamic, with Europe becoming a key battleground in the ideological struggle between East and West. The Berlin Wall symbolized this division, a stark reminder of the continent's fractured state. The collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 presented Europe with an opportunity to redefine its role in the world. The fall of the Berlin Wall and the subsequent liberation of Eastern European countries marked the beginning of a new era, filled with both hope and uncertainty. The European Union expanded, encompassing former Soviet bloc countries, and began to assert itself more prominently in areas like trade and diplomacy. This expansion was not just geographical, but also symbolic, representing a commitment to unity, democracy, and shared prosperity. However, old habits die hard. The legacy of past conflicts and divisions still influences contemporary European politics and society. The continent's rich cultural tapestry, while a source of strength, also presents challenges in achieving true unity. The comfort of American security guarantees and the allure of focusing on internal integration often overshadowed the imperative for greater strategic autonomy. As Europe navigates the complexities of the 21st century, it must balance its historical legacy with the need for a cohesive and independent future.